Okay, so my presentation is on Johann Sebastian Bach. So Bach was born in Eisenach, Thuringia, Germany in March 31st, 1685. And he came from a line of musicians. His father was the town musician, and he had an uncle who was also a famous composer and musician, and a cousin who was also a musician. He went to school at age 7 and he studied Latin and other subjects, and he also received a religious education that later became influential in his musical works. He became an orphan at the age of 10 after both of his parents died. His mother died first, and then his father died 9 months later. I couldn't find anything on the internet for why they died, so that's unknown, but they both died in Eisenach, Germany. And he was taken in by his older brother, Johann Christoph, and lived with his family until he was 15. And his brother also gave him more of a musical education. His father had taught him violin and some basic music, and his brother also helped him. And his brother worked as an organist in a church, and Bach would secretly copy his music scores, even though that was forbidden at the time, because musical ledgers, which is where they copied the music scores, were expensive, but he still did it anyways. Sorry. In his early career, he was an organist and instructor at the new church in Arnstadt. But though he came from an influential family and was musically talented, he had an independent and sometimes arrogant personality. And he disliked his students at the church because he thought that they weren't competent enough. And he also clashed with the authorities at the church. One event that caused increasing tension between them was when he left with a leave of 4 weeks to visit a famous performer, but he instead went for 4 months and didn't tell the people back at the church. So then he left Arnstadt to become an organist for the Church of St. Blaise in Mulhausen. But here he clashed with the church pastor again because his musical style was sophisticated and complex, while the pastor believed that worship music should be simple. In 1708, he became an organist for the Duke Wilhelm Ernst Weimar, where he wrote some of his best compositions. And then in 1717, he accepted a position for the Prince Leopold of Anhalt-Köthen, who had a passion for music, but the Duke refused to let him go and put him in prison for several weeks to try to prevent him from leaving. But eventually he released him. And while Bach was in Köthen, he wrote many orchestral and solo pieces. When the prince married in 1721, his bride disapproved of his interest in music. So in 1723, he dissolved the orchestra and Bach had to find a new job. In Leipzig, Bach auditioned to become the new organist and teacher at a church called the St. Thomas Church. And he wrote many cantatas at this time, which are musical compositions for the voice that are accompanied by instruments, because new pieces were needed for the worship every week. So during this time, he wrote many interpretations of passages in the Bible through music. And he called these were called his passions. I had a list of some of them, but I think I can't find it right now. But his most famous one was the Passion for Saint Matthew. And he wrote many of these, and they're regarded as some of his best works of music. Sorry, let me see. So in his final years, Bach was suffering with failing eyesight in addition to a few other health problems. but he continued to work despite that. And one of his students said that he saw him holding a little magnifying glass and trying desperately to see the music that he was trying to write, even though he could barely see. And then 10 years later, he tried to have surgery to fix his eyesight, but the procedure failed and instead left him completely blind. And later that year, Bach suffered a stroke and died on July 28, 1750. I had 2 slides for his family and his religious beliefs, but I think that those didn't get saved because I was working on them while I was offline. But he believed in God, and a lot of his music was inspired by passages from the Bible. And also much of his career, or almost all of his career, was spent working in churches as an organist and teacher. So his religious beliefs had a great influence on him. And yeah, that's it.
Okay, thank you, Jen. Wow, very, very informative. Interestingly, so every week you need to compose the new music for each worship, huh? So not just pastor need to prepare the sermon every week. The musician also need to compose the music. Oh, see, so we can do that for the musician, for every Sunday. Wow, thank you so much. There's a Matthew, the Passion of St. Matthew is still very popular. Every time you see the great leader pass away, they always put it as a background. Okay. All right. Coming to the final week. Okay. So this is a criteria for the certificate. Attend 9 at least, and 3 by just watching the video. If you do less than this and you still want to get it, send it personal notes to me, okay? It's still possible, all right? And then finish reading the book. On Friday, we're gonna have a final easy exam, all right? Just review the notes, the big ideas, then submit a 1-page reflection on what you have learned. Everything due on August 31st. If you send a 1-page reflection, just indicate how many sections is online, how many is by watching the recording, and indicate you have finished the book and what is the final score, all right? Okay, so just all put it on the page and then email to me. Remember these 7 mountains, okay? Going to be in the final. Apologize, we cannot finish. We gotta talk all 7 mountains, but in the book, you're going to cover that, especially the government. Today, we're going to look at the 7th mountain, arts and entertainment, where we celebrate. Okay. Remember, every mountain, okay, should be, the foundation should be the family, okay? So every mountain should treat its family as the foundation. What is the mountain of the arts and entertainment? The arts and entertainment mountain includes all forms of celebrations. For example, art, music, sports, entertainment is a societal arena where values and virtue are celebrated or distorted. Isn't it interesting? Normally, we just think about art, it's just entertainment. What's big deal? Oh, it is a big deal because its value and virtue are celebrated or distorted. And that has greater power than the formal lecture or formal sermon, because these type of things, art and entertainment, come directly into us. And also usually during the time we are off guard, isn't it? So that's what this is. It's much more influential mountains. The power of art. The way we define art has the power to shape our culture. The music we listen to, the image we print in our minds, the story we tell, all have enormous power over the kind of people we are. They both express and shape our beliefs and values. You agree? Our culture actually basically is made up by art and entertainment. And they shape us. Another way you can say the most part would be education. But I think they're both, but arts and entertainment also kind of, through the education, also shape us. So let's see how important these are. I think there's many forms of arts. During the discussion, we can talk about more. I think probably you learn some music, you like read certain type of books. And this is from textbook. It said a story is more powerful than the didactic teaching. Do you agree? You see, Bible, especially Jesus, used a lot of story parables, right? So from the story of parables that describe this, much more powerful than just, hey, honor your father and mother, right? Just, hey, just listen. We all know the story of the prodigal son. From the storyline, from how the father treated the sons, it really showed a lot more than just the words can describe. So that's also some type of art. Who knows this? Probably many of you.
I'm pretty sure like a third of the girls at school are obsessed with them.
Yes, I didn't know about that until a few years ago when they came to New York, and just happened the performance night is Friday night. So I went to the youth group and then discovered, whoa, what happened? Where are the, especially girls, where are this? Because before I didn't know about anything. And then, the leftover people said they went to BTS concert. And I later on checked with many youth pastors, all this, they're pretty much the same that night. Then I realized how powerful it is, right? That the night, almost all the church youth in New York City areas all switched the worship praise from the church to the stadium. Wow.
I think BTS has a lot of fans, but I'm not one of them.
Yeah.
But lots of my friends from America like that.
Yes, that's why I use this. Okay, I'm not just going to jump to criticize it. I just want to see how powerful it is, right? That and that's why we need to face this. We need to talk about this. And they don't actually. One of my the parents told me that her daughter want to go to every BTS concert in the New York metropolitan area. So it's not only the night in New York. They went to New Jersey. They went to, and the ticket is not cheap. Wow! And the mother would drive her, would pay for that. Oh, you see the power. I wish that. Okay, I wish that the young girl has some passion to come to church for that. So that's why we see the power. And actually, one year I went to Kyrgyzstan. Same things. All these youth in Kyrgyzstan, they're so into the Korean pop culture. Wow, now you know the power of the art or power of pop culture, right? So before that, let's again dig into the biblical teaching of art or entertainment. Okay. remember everything we're going to look at this: creation, fall, redemption, and restoration. Right? So we need to know God is the greatest artist. Whoa, why? Through many areas. First, creation is God's handiwork. Jia-Bing, can you read this verse?
The heavens declare the glory of God, and the sky above proclaims his handiwork.
Okay, his handiwork, right? So the sky, the creation is God's work. All right, just like artists create. But not only God create everything beautifully. I love this verse. Jen Chen, can you read this verse?
One thing have I asked of the Lord, that I will seek after, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to gaze upon the beauty of the Lord and to inquire in his temple.
Isn't that interesting? David said he was in the temple of the Lord to do what? To gaze upon the beauty. He didn't say, I was sit there to just like Jesus, we asked the rabbi in the temple to get all this knowledge. Oh, I want to know everything God knows. But he said, I want to gaze upon the beauty of the Lord. Wow. He has made everything beautiful in its time. Look at this. Jennifer, is Jennifer there?
Yes.
Can you read the verse?
Matthew 6:29. Yet I tell you, even Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these.
Okay, so we need to know art is really unique to human being. You don't see other animals will do something creative, something different. They just live through the pattern of their life. But only human being had this capacity to create something and make it beautiful, because God is the source of the beauty. Look at his flower, right? God can just create one type, one color, but he make it so beautiful, so many kinds. That reflects his God's beauty. So human being has this image of God. So we carry the same attribute, some of those, like we can be artists. And also interestingly, God asked the work to be done beautifully, not just get it done, all right? And Emmanuel, can you read this part?
The verse, okay. Exodus 31, verses 1 through 6. The Lord said to Moses, see, I have called by name Bezalel, the son of Uri, son of Hur, of the tribe of Judah. And I have filled him with the Spirit of God, with ability and intelligence, with knowledge and all craftsmanship, to devise artistic designs, to work in gold, silver, and bronze, in cutting stones for setting, and in carving wood, to work in every craft. And behold, I have appointed him with Aholiab, the son of Ahisamach, of the tribe of Dan. And I have given to all able men ability, that they may make all that I have commanded you. According to all that I have commanded you, they shall do.
Okay, do you see that? God just didn't say, okay, just get it done. Just make it. God make the people who need to do it, they have this feel by the Spirit, that have skill to do the work beautifully. So not just art, everything we do, we not just want to do the good job. We not just want to get it done. I think we should try to do it beautifully. I'll just give you an example. I was a computer programmer before. If you take some computer course, there's many coding can get the same function, same job finished, right? You can do a long, lousy program, just if else, right? Or you can just make a short program and just a for loop to just get it done, and easier to debug afterwards. So which one do you like? Or which one you want to do it? You want just do it largely just to get it done, or you want to do it beautifully? So yeah, I really enjoy doing the programming in some way, okay? Because I always want to try to make it very efficient and very concise, very beautifully. And that's, I would say that's art also, not just that you do the painting. Everything you do, if you do it beautifully, right? If you're project manager, if you manage people, you do it. So let's carry the spirit, right? Anybody know this guy, David Liu? Actually, I personally met him. It's a very interesting story. You know, he grew up in Taiwan, but unfortunately, he doesn't have a good score. And then parents said, oh, you know, Chinese parents, they all want their kids to have good score. So they sent him to America, but that's much longer before, long before. So he went to Florida, and there's not many Asian kids back then. So he suffered a lot of discrimination or something. And then a funny story, he said, back then the people, as soon as they see Asian, they think about who? For American, if you think about Asian Chinese guy, Chinese boy, who did they think about? Parents, this is not the very famous one.
Jeremy Lin.
No, that's now, but that's thank you. That's not probably now. Back then, 30, 40 years ago, the famous one, Kung Fu guy.
Oh, Chen Long.
Even longer. Sorry. We probably, how about Bruce Lee? Anybody know Bruce?
Oh, Bruce Lee, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So that's back then. And then so every people asking, do you know Kung Fu? And actually he doesn't know, but he just think, and he also but he pretend he said, oh yeah, I know. And then they said, oh, what belt you have, you know? And he doesn't know. He just look at what type of belt. He said, oh, black. Oh, and the question was, why your black belt? And then how many sections? Or how he said, you look at it, oh, I have 8 holes. He said, 8. Oh, he's just so funny that he talked about this. But his testimony is that he doesn't have good score. He has difficult time. But until his teacher find out he has talent of drawing and encourage him to start to draw, and he found his talent, and ends up he worked for Disney and he drew Lion King. Many, and he told me that you know, the Mulan, the soldier, actually is based on him, his look. Quite amazing guy, right? And then he left Disney. He started this can do. It means you can do it. This studio and try to teach people to find their talents. And he had these books called "Don't Be Number One, but Be the Only One." Yeah, we too often we try to be the number one, and also we try to be, especially just find our achievement satisfaction from academic. But in the art fields also, it is very, very needed, especially for Christian to get involved there. For Christian, the arts can also be an important way to understand God and his creation. The arts give us ear to hear and eye to see more clearly. Don't you agree that through the arts form, music, movie, any other things or even the books, let us see God and his creation more clearly? Okay, so for biblical worldview, we need to see everything we have is also to be from God, because they carry God's attribute. But then we're going to see what happened, especially now we observe the society, especially in the arts and entertainment. What happened? How have we lost a sense of art's high dignity and purpose? From this book, Church Agents, very interesting. He said during the 1930s, many Hollywood movies, they'll submit their stuff to Christian pastors to let them see, right? And display this example. But unfortunately, one college president wrote back saying he'd rather send their young people to hell itself than send them to Hollywood. So this is just one example. When church all withdraw from the culture and into church, we thought we are safe, but actually we left God's creation managed by non-Christian with unbiblical ideas. And that's why sooner or later, church also got dissolved, got take influence, you know, so that now you know, for the reason we talk about seven mountains is hope we can use biblical worldview to go back to influence the culture. And arts also carry the worldview. Wow, before really I didn't know about this because I study engineering. I'm not really an art person, but you see that the changes from objective to the subjective. Originally, arts as a standard, if they conform to the attribute of God, that is beauty. Look at just sounds of the music. Why that's we say chord, the harmony, right? You have certain C major, C chord. You play guitar. I play guitar. You know, you need to have those chords. But why, if you don't follow that, you kind of out of tune, right? So music carry that. If you need to match the ear, and it's do mi so do, right? They follow. There's a kind of the harmony. But when that objective view change, because of the worldview change, and the influence the arts. And from 19th century, same thing, the people that romantic movement, the artists become idolized and art itself become a surrogate for religions. Art finally is the highest form not to represent a reality, but in creating something completely new and imagery. So you can look at the book yourself. It's very detailed, talk about a lot of these changes. So there's no neutral ground, right? When artists try to create their own stuff, not matching what God's, that's what happened. We learn about Bach. Actually, the music is always want to use it to glorify God. But when the art try to do other ways, then the form is shocked and disturbed. For my girls, they're all very involved in the music. Actually, my number two, she majored in music in college, even for graduate school. So I often have a chance to listen, to go to this concert. I remember once this whole piece just try to make you very uncomfortable. They use very, very sharp noise or something. And that's become art. They just want you to shock and disturb you. All right. So probably you should encounter this more than I do. All right. So when we talk about art, we need to differentiate high culture and the pop culture. Who can tell me what is different? What is high culture? What is high culture? Zachary, what is high culture? What do you think?
Is it like objects of like
very soft? I couldn't hear. Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Is it like things that like what was it? Is aesthetic? Like objects of aesthetic?
Okay. Can you give me some example? What type of form, what type of thing high culture? Or
is it like more refined, I guess? such as
such as what?
Like I don't know. No examples
Anybody?
come to my mind immediately.
Okay, anybody? What comes to mind? You say, "Oh, this is a high culture."
Something you have to learn, have to be trained, have
Yes.
to think.
Mm-hmm. But then can you give me example?
Classical music, you have to listen to learn how it is arranged, like a composition.
Mm-hmm.
The music, learn which instrument.
Yeah. So, okay, that's from the book. All right. So symphony has a complex structure that takes some effort to understand it. It challenges us. We have to work to appreciate. Okay. So probably that's the least we want to do when we find entertainment, right? Because I don't want to work. I don't just want to relax. All right. So this is from the high culture. All right. Oh, then I should come too fast. Then what's a pop culture? What's a pop culture? When you do it, you can eat popcorn. What's a pop culture? Probably this you should know.
Stuff that's currently popular.
Huh? Popular.
Stuff that's popular. I assume that's how it got its name.
Okay, but also besides popularity, what are something that make it become a pop culture? Kind of contracts to the high culture.
It doesn't take effort to understand.
Yeah. Thank you. That's the key here. That's that. How about who's just? Can you read this for us? It's still Zachary. Can you read it?
Popular culture strives to avoid making the audience work. It's intended to be simple, entertaining, and easy to understand, offering immediate gratification. It grabs our attention with catchy lines, loud intrusive music, and sensational visual effects, all designed to bypass the mind and appeal directly to the senses and emotions.
Okay, do you agree with that? It bypasses mind and just appeal directly to the sense and emotions. So easily you can get into it, right? Probably that's usually what we consume. And that's why I call pop culture. But Chuck Colson point out a few dangers of the modern pop culture. You want to think about, so his first is easily become addicted, destroy our taste for more substantial fare. Right? It is because easy, all right? And we just want to hook on it, just continue on that, all right? Second, pop culture can break down even our ability to tackle more challenging mental tasks. What do you mean? Oh, okay. So he said, if we focus on immediate experience, it rather still need to be substantial attention by offering easy consumption and emotional gratification. It discourages us from analyzing what we see and hear. Do you agree with this? That we can't become lazy, right? We don't want to think too much. Oh, we just relax on that. And especially now we all say, oh, that's our focus expansion is very short, so we all need to make it very short right now, especially with internet, with smartphone, right? So nobody going to read a long book, or even the server need to be short, right? So that's kind of related to earlier. Remember we talked about that Christian mind. We don't want to think about it. We don't want to think, all right? So the third danger is, okay, so you said the pop culture is like a narcotic. Over time, it can actually impair the brain's of capacity. And especially the parents, if you have little kids, I think that is going to be stronger impact. All right. The third one is the impact popular culture may have our spiritual lives. Why? You want to think about it? How does that impact our spiritual life? Oh, do you know?
Well, because it's so entertaining and possibly addictive, it slowly leads you away.
Leads you away. Okay, good. But even that that's away also is said that they're going to decrease our capacity for we to dig into the Bible, to study Word of God, to meditate. You see, remember Bible tells us we need to meditate His Word day and night, right? So prayer and meditation require our focus. But if we heavily involved with the pop culture, our ability to do that actually going to very weak. And I think that's why we see, even in the Christian bookstore, you can see a lot of popular Christian book. It's not very deep, right? And you think about the monastery, it's totally opposite life, right? People in the monk, in the monastery, they just need to all quiet, meditate, pray. Actually, I'm really thinking of one day I want to. You want to join me? That's just go to experience. Okay, I'm not saying live there forever. Okay, let's just go for a few days to live in a monastery. Does everyone have that experience? Joyce, do you have that experience? Just
living in a monastery, no. But I think there are times where I guess for a specific pursuit, you'll have to shut down everything else and keep yourself free from distractions to get something done.
Yeah. You know, in our youth winter retreat, I always have 1 hour, only 1 hour. Okay. I said this 1 hour is just go out only Bible only and to find a quiet spot to meditate and to write something, your conversation with God. I kind of that's our practice for our youth retreat. And actually, a lot of young people, they like it, you know, because we never probably, as soon as we wake up, probably our phone never left us, right? We constantly need to check our email, check our Instagram, check us. We don't have the ability to meditate quietly, okay? So that's what Coulson pointed out. So the important point is that the decline in popular culture was not merely a result of decline of public taste, it was a direct result of changing in worldview. So you see, everything is related to worldview. And also one thing he pointed out is very interesting. He says, the medium is a message. Probably we all heard about that. That's God's word never changed, right? But we can change the way to communicate. In some way, we agree, okay? Because before there's no email, before there's no video, and now we change the form. But the form, the medium itself is also a message. So his point is that we need to choose the right medium, not just say, oh, any type, okay? The form of popular culture affects us just as much, not only what is said, but also how it is said. Right. For example, is a pastor Brian here too? All right. For example, I'm the pastor. Sunday, I'm going to preach. What I wear, does that matter? Does it matter what I wear on Sunday?
Yes.
Yes.
Why? I'm going to preach the same thing. If you
because our dress represents who we are. In a sense.
You see, if you don't watch what I wear, you just listen. I can preach the same thing. And they say, oh, wow, Pastor Lee, you preach so well. But you look at the video and say, oh, how come you, I don't know what, okay. So I just want to show you that how you communicate is also a message. That's why we need to pay attention to that. I think in today's culture, we kind of actually, that is also a message. We purposely want to make it a message, right? So now, I even watched one very famous pastor. He just wear flip-flop on his pulpit. Wow. Or even wear short. And that's itself, okay, let's say don't say good or bad, whatever. It itself is a message. The medium is a message, okay? So Christians must learn to analyze not only the content of the pop culture, but also art form itself, the mode of expression. That's something we seldom to pay attention to that. Or we use a form, whatever it works, whatever is popular. And we didn't think, oh, does that matter? From Christian worldview. Honestly, I really tried, when I just became an English pastor, I really feel that I can let everything go as long as I can get people to church. I said, I'm willing to sacrifice. Really. I said, well, as long as the message is the truth, why we care about the form, you know? Are we creating a genuine Christian culture, or are we simply creating a parallel culture with the Christian veneer? Are we imposing Christian content onto the already existing form for the form and style always send a message of their own? Okay, that's something I honestly, until I read this book, I said, oh, it matters also, right? Because the form itself is a message. But unfortunately now that the message is overwhelmed by the medium, Right? Okay, now how should we do? Okay, well, time goes quickly. I just point a few things that's to cultivate our taste. Begin with disciplining our personal habit to say no to the words of popular culture. It has so infiltrated our homes, our schools, and our churches that we must start reining it in. Yeah, this probably pop culture is everywhere. Just when you sit in the car, what music you're going to listen, right? I know if we have young people and old people sit in the car, you're going to fight. But probably now everyone listens to their earphone, so you don't need to fight. But if no fighting, what are you going to listen? Often I sit in the young people's car when they give me a ride, and they say, "Sorry, can you change the music?" You know, and this is my Christian youth. Okay, so you can see that some taste different. Oh, okay. Too long to go. This is a very interesting story. New York Times talk about French government get every 18 years old their citizen the equivalent $350 in the app. Okay, so they can use to purchase to do arts, museum, buy books, concert, all this. What would you do if government give you free money for you to explore the culture? Where will you spend? Anybody? Where are you going to use it? Chloe, what are you going to buy? Or Daniel, what are you going to use the money for?
How much money was it?
Huh?
How much money did I get?
Totally 350, but not all in one shot. Okay, I think that has that from a few months, and each time you can only for a certain month. But mainly it's what area you're going to use it?
I'm gonna use it to buy software
for
music.
To this for some music record, something like that.
No, like a software like Vocaloid and maybe like FL Studio or something, because music software is so expensive.
I see. Okay. But this is the kind you need to go to more like use it, okay, to enjoy. Like, okay, the main idea they want them to go to museum. opera, whatever those type of arts, okay? But you know what happened? They find out over 75% of purchases are made through the book, okay? And 2/3 of them are what? Manga. They didn't realize, they're kind of surprised to them, all right? So you just can see how the pop culture, I don't know, is anyone into that? Actually, I have in my church this he's already crossed 30 and he loved this, all right? I probably many people, you just see how the culture's so different. And I always love this story, Ben Carson. His mom, a single mom, is illiterate, doesn't know any words, but she one day she was working for a professor. She thought, wow, how come this person can become a professor and the house is full of books? So he went back home. He saw her 2 sons watching the TV, and he just said, turn off the TV and make them read classics and write books, report on them. And that's how they changed Ben Carson, right? And so people say, how can they do that? He said, there's a time when parents still control families. You see that, all right? Now probably opposite, right? If parents say, turn on TV or don't buy this, and kids are going, they're gonna rebel, oh, you gotta buy this for me. Everybody has, right? So every Christian family can make the home a place where arts and culture are nurtured, right? And if you are young people, hope when you become parents, okay, you can train them in this area, right? Or you want to train yourself. Honestly, when I grew up, I don't have much, not it's time to think about these things. And but in a way also, the general culture is also, we don't have a cell phone, we don't have a lot of things. So influence is still more limited. But now, because internet, cell phone is so easy, you can go anywhere you want. And one thing that art's so powerful is that they're going to influence, do I want to be good or do you want to be the person, right? So probably when we are young, we all say, oh, why this so idol, right? American idols, why all this pop star idol? When you see this person, you want to be like that person, you want to look like the person, you want to think like, so that's why what type of the music, book, reading, you're going to influence you become who you are, right? So I need to move. With invitation to the classics, they tell you a lot of classic books that you can pick up and read, right? And this is another book I found helpful. It's A Christian Guide to Reading Books. So we need to intentionally to cultivate this type of culture and read good books. Because if you don't read good book, you read bad books, right? And no one should grow up without the art, for they move us, the whole person, and not just our feeling only, okay? Music, literature, and art offer us a window through which we can appreciate God's truth more fully. So do you think about this when we do the entertainment or music? All right. Okay, this is the verse right here. Rebecca, BC, can you read this verse?
Finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable, if there is any excellence, if there is anything worthy of praise, think about these things. Okay, I know come to the music style, any art form is very personal. If we start to argue, that's bad, that's good. But I just this verse that God wants to speak to us and to help
they influence us in every choice we make. Every movie we're going to watch, every book we're going to read, the music we're going to listen. All right. So first, we need to cultivate our own habits or taste. Then second, we need to craft a biblical-based view of the art. All right. And I think that's the very challenge in a society. Too often we see Christian art, it just very mimic to the secular arts and just change the content, right? Oh, we see what is popular, then we can use that and just put Jesus in. Oh, put but Chuck Colson point us out, say, not only the content, but the form, we need to think Christian-like, okay? So I think the challenge, you're going to say, oh, then what type of form? Maybe we can discuss in the breakout room. What type of form you think is more Christian, all right? An author should never conceive of himself as bringing into existence the beauty or wisdom, but to present it, all right? So that's a difference between modern, this artists, they don't believe in God. They're just going to use whatever they think. So maybe purposely be very ugly to shock you. But a true Christian artist should use our talent to create an art to reflect the eternal beauty and the wisdom. God does not call his people simply to run around putting out fires, but to encourage us to create good arts. Okay, so I hope it's not just we here to criticize, that's not good, but create something better. Bach, everything you see at the end, his composition, he always signed SDG, Soli Deo Gloria, for glory to God alone. Can we do that? Can we, when you finish your project, when you finish your homework, can you sign SDG? Oh, you think about it, then your homework will be different, right? Yeah. How about just your homework? Do you listen to your homework? No. Last year, that I like this. We're not just want to create more Christian book or Christian movie, but movie with Christian idea. I often also have this conversation with my daughter. That's when we want to for like Friday night, the youth group, sometimes we want to watch some movie, right? And also, oh, of course, we want to watch a Christian movie. But too often, even myself feel kind of a lot of these Christian movies just have this cliche, you know, in a way, as soon as you watch it, you know the storyline. They're going to, it's just not that interesting or attractive. Like the good movies is like you don't know how they're going to lead you to, right? So I think we need to do more on that. That's what he said, that we need to indirect that the work preaching Christian, that people watch this, they know that's a Christian movie. That's they got influenced by the Christian value. I think we should have Christian artists to do something like this. And his last chance, she said, if in the market everything is created by Christian artists or Christian worldview, wouldn't be much better? So people can find all these things, not just in the church sermon, but in their life. And so I know many young people, you want to be artists. And I just encourage you to make it as a missionary, right? How you going to use your God-given talent to share good news from your work. I don't have time for this. I think I'm just going to give this beauty. Our task is not to protest of the world into a certain way, but to have a beautiful presence. I think that will be a much more powerful witness than more than just apologetics, more than just debating, but has a beautiful presence from how we live, from the way we live, and the art piece we present. Okay. 2 questions. How have our lives been influenced by the arts and entertainment without our knowing it? What can Christian and church do to reclaim the mountain of the arts and entertainment?